I don't... Alright, I'm not gonna lie, I like the combat in this game. The quests are boring as fuck.
Yeah.
They're, like the previous one was they were too hot, so we had to go kill druids to steal their secrets about keeping cool in the jungle since they were wearing robes. And this one's about something mirrors and like we just have to go kill monsters because we just have to go kill more monsters.
This strikes me as a game where they made worlds and monsters and settings, and then they're like, let's make excuses for them to go do those things.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of the story.
It definitely feels that way.
Can I not hurt these things? Oh wait, I can just teleport past them.
Yeah.
I'm stupid.
It's kind of a shame, but at the same time, like,
let's teleporting.
Let's be honest here. This kind of gameplay is very rarely used well to tell a story. Like we mentioned, Secret of Mana. I think that's a very good example of like gameplay storytelling, whatever you want to call it.
I can't comment on that one.
I've only seen part of it. There was a webcomic called Secret of Magic Theater that effectively just added voice acting and animation. It was effectively a Let's Play before Let's Plays were a thing, like back in
well, it's the old version of Let's Plays that Bird insists is technically still the same thing. We had a discussion about that.
Can we get through here? I think
Bird was like almost indignant a little bit that I was insisting that like the thing that used to be called Let's Plays, where you post pictures on a forum, is just not the same thing. Like, he talked about it as an evolution, and I'm like, nah, I wouldn't call it evolution.
Apparently, that's just like a little side detour for no good reason. Yeah. What are you kidding me? Can we just not go down here?
Maybe.
We might be able to bivouac.
Is that where our quest objective is?
We have to go down. I thought we could take a different route through, but apparently we went that way just to collect some loot.
There.
Exactly.
I'm sad.
That is dumb. I don't like that.
Let me break everything. I'm a super teleporter magic dude.
Yeah, pretty much.
What's the point of being magic if I can't break everything? That's all I do in Witcher, is just break the combat with magic.
I've been doing that a lot in Battle Block Theater, and Bird's starting to get really upset about it.
In Witcher, I have never put a single point into combat skills, like for like your sword play or like even survivability.
Because you're going full magic.
100% magic. So
that would make sense.
I put a shield on myself, and then I put a circle down on the ground that slows everyone. Then I mind control someone so that they can't like react to anything around them, and then I set everyone on fire. And then I just watch the world burn.
That actually sounds pretty fun.
It's pretty great. It's so much better than trying to stab people ever in that game, because the sword play is not great.
The sword play, yeah, the finishing moves are really cool. Like there's some really fun. Oh,
hello, weird boss creature I saw on the Steam like image gallery.
Not gonna lie, I was not expecting this. All right, well we have to go kill the treants first, I think. I don't even know if we're fighting that thing.
You didn't look at the storm page?
Well, I didn't need to. I already own this game.
Yeah.
Like, I've owned this game since...
best.
I'm just gonna let you finish this thing off. He hurts too much. Actually, no.
I just figured that the store page is my best chance at getting a first idea of what the game is I'm walking into. Like some concept of what it plays like or what it looks like.
I was just lazy. Yeah, Dragon Age would be better because the fighting's more important than the story. I mean, Dragon Age still has a very enjoyable story. It just, it's just not as...
I mean, my problem with Dragon Age Inquisition is I don't think that the combat's very good.
I'll say, I actually really liked the combat. It's vastly inferior to, say, Dark Souls, in my opinion, just mechanically. But it's still very
comparable to Dark Souls. I think it's most comparable to Dragon Age Origins. And Dragon Age Origins just kind of did it all better. It's kind of rough playing Inquisition when you played Origins in any capacity. It looks like it's wearing it looks like a fat woman in a sweater.
It really does. In a tracksuit, not a sweater. Like she's out for a jog and she decided to sit down in a doggy bed. And she's also gargantuan and jiggly.
Maybe she's just dogkin. Don't question what she identifies as.
So she's like, look into yourself and you will find where you need to go. And apparently we need to go to goddamn Mushroom Island.
I'm surprised she's friendly. She just seemed like a boss fight.
She did, but no, she's an NPC that tells us where to go next. Do we want to go back to
those
town?
treants were the boss fight, I guess? Because I think they had the boss icon.
Well, that was the quest. We're already on the last quest of this area.
Yeah, I didn't read the name right away. I just saw boss, so I thought that was her health bar.
Here, I'm gonna have us teleport back if all of the monsters have respawned. We might as well grab them.
Obliterate more.
Oh, these people have gone insane at this point. They're all saying like, "Kill mother."
Kill mother.
I probably should have queued us up with it. Wait, can we not interact with the quest board?
We must protect this house.
We can't.
This is our house.
Interact with the quest board, apparently. No. Alright.
It's problematic.
Well, might as well sell your stuff over here. I think we've got another dungeon coming up.
Just that. Yeah, so you said you played Dragon Age Origins, though?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
So you know about how, like, it had the top-down perspective, and you could, like, pause and move time however you wanted to and everything. But then you, like, importantly, like, you could actually go into each individual character's AI and set specific rules about how they would behave.
Does that not exist in Inquisition anymore?
No, not really.
Okay, that's a bit of a shame.
In Inquisition, all you can do is you can tell them to follow or defend a specific character, and you can toggle individual skills on and off. And at most, you can set the most nuanced you can do is set certain skills to priority, which is the most ambiguous thing you could conceive
I remember
of,
that actually. Yeah, it's been a while. I guess I also play on much easier difficulties for RPGs because in that case, kind of it's a nice vehicle for the story, but I'm more interested in just kind of having a relaxing game. Like right now.
Well, I brought this up because someone was talking about like Dragon Age is better because the combat's more important than the story or something like that, and I'm talking about like, well, it really
depends on what kind of
it
really depends on like what kind of difficulty in combat we're talking about here. Because if you're just looking for like a really good ARPG, then the answer is always going to be Dark Souls, or even Lords of the Fallen, just because the gameplay is that much more involved.
Well, my issue with Inquisition is that the moment it's not about like just being an action game and reflex based or like something like that. It's just doing whatever you do right.
That spider did 9,999 damage to me.
Whoops. Why don't you fucking get over it?
Fucking, this game really wants you to block. Like whenever I block, I'm invincible from all angles, which would be fine except for the fact that everything is tiny. So good luck watching their watching for their tails.
Yeah, it's a little hard to make sense of what's going on this.
Especially when you're all like just mashed down into one area.
For you, it's just a cloud of numbers.
Imagine if you were playing Diablo 3 and you had a block button that made you invincible. You can only block 5 attacks in a row, and all enemies could kill you in one hit. That is currently what I'm dealing with here.
Fun.
Yeah, I'm starting to get kind of crankles about it.
Blam blam. Like my issue is that like it doesn't have to be an action RPG. Like Dragon Age, like by a core conceit, the way that they designed Dragon Age Origins and Inquisition, you're not really supposed to be playing it as a real-time like action RPG.
Yeah.
Like that's not really the focus of it. It's supposed to be like a party. Like you look down at this party and control them and give them commands. And you kind of the action part that is just sort of there when you're in like mindless mode, clearing like stuff that's not hard or interesting. But that's like autopilot, like hold down button to basically win fight automatically mode, where you're not really even playing, you're barely playing a game and just kind of letting it happen to you.
Damn it!
You died again.
I let off block for 1 second. 1 second! And it just instantaneously killed me.
Like I tend to judge a game by how well it performs during the part where the combat like matters and is supposed to be interesting.
I'm judging the fuck out of this right now. Like I'm actually really unhappy with this. Like
in this game, it is kind of problematic.
Wait, hold on.
Like in Dark Souls, that's kind of all the time. Like encounters are all really interestingly designed, and boss fights are engaging.
Does this? We have to go back up. We gotta figure out how to go down or to the right from here.
Are we lost?
Maybe. I think I gave us the wrong turn. But
I say we as if to shoulder some of the blame, but I'm not paying any attention. I've just been assuming you know where you're going because you've always had you're the host anyway, so you have.
So we're not lost.
That picks up every quest,
but we have to take the really. Okay, we have to take the really long way around, and the map doesn't really tell you that. Like this is the problem with the procedurally generated map, and I don't even see why this game needs it. I guess it just wanted to be more Diablo-y. Oh, that's the menu.
Yeah.
My block button is the same as my menu button. Or they're right next to each other, so it's very easy for me to... Are you kidding me?
A lot of corpses to loot around here. This is a dead end, isn't it?
It's a dead end!
What if this game can procedurally generate levels where you can't complete them?
Okay, so we have to go... We have to go up and around here. But like...
You're really fast. Are you faster than you used to be, or is something wrong with me?
I wouldn't be surprised if it's like weird netcode bits. I truly don't know though. I don't think it matters.
The game's just letting me move slower for some reason. I mean, thankfully I have a teleporter. This would be pain.
Yeah, this would be really obnoxious if I was just zipping forward at all times. Kill the mother. Can't.
But anyway, what I keep trying to articulate is that my issue with Dragon Age is that when you actually press it to any sort of limits and actually start making interesting tactical decisions and having to do something where you actually have to use the game mechanics to overcome something, you start realizing that there's massive flaws with the basics of how you can control your party. Where they will ignore what you say, they'll do the opposite of what you say. You give them a command and the moment you like press time forward from the pause mode, you'll watch that command immediately vanish from their little like, I'm about to do this thing queue, and they'll just do something else instead. You'll have characters stand still for a minute straight unless you go to them and then manually jump, because for some reason jumping like resets their command. Like you'll see them standing there doing nothing. You'll switch to them, take physical control of them, and then you'll try to move and do commands, and you can't do anything either. And for some reason, jumping fixes that, and this still happens now, like almost a year after the game came out.
Yeah, I don't think that's a priority for them, unfortunately.
But
I think it works.
The basic combat breaks all the time.
I just played it on an easier difficulty, so it wasn't a big deal.
I was doing a fight earlier where we were fighting on a ledge, and it's just like we're all clearly in this little hallway-shaped area with the bad guys, and Vivian would just pick up and run the opposite direction into a different room, and then just stay there. He had no command to go there.
We gotta go back.
He was just like, fuck it, I'm out.
We just went in a giant circle.
And like she wasn't like feared. She didn't have like a go here command. She was just like, nope, that's where I think I'm supposed to go.
Okay. See that little mushroom on the right? We need to go through there. Unfortunately, we do not have the capacity to splunk through jungle. So we really have to go the incredibly long way around. Who designed this? Nobody did. That's the problem.
I mean,
nobody thought this was a good idea because nobody did this. They made a script that did this.
Last time we played this game, or maybe when we played Dark Souls, where we talked about procedural generation, and I say that it's not a good idea as a general rule because
I mean, okay,
you're better off having levels that are designed.
I guess I'm going to recognize your point, but I'm also going to disagree with you. Procedural generation done well is wonderful. This is like if you took Tower of Guns, but made every room of that so piecemeal that it's not a room anymore. Like, that is what we are currently dealing with.
It's probably problematic to have an open world
I'm glad I blocked.
With a storyline and quest chains that is procedurally generated.
I think randomly generated dungeons that you would do for like...
elements that are... You're making too many of the random elements matter at that point, and then it's gonna break.
Okay, so, yeah, right now, like, we're not going that way.
It's kind of like the difference between Bloodborne campaign and Bloodborne Chalice dungeons, where the campaign's full of NPCs and boss fights that are all in all these organic locations and stuff's unfolding in cool ways, and there's like strategically placed loot that matters. And in the Chalice dungeons, it's kind of here's a bunch of random rooms and then a boss fight at the end, and it like the triggers are always the same because otherwise everything will shit itself.
It's a shame. I don't know.
And like that's how Binding of Isaac works too. Here's a bunch of random rooms, and the only thing that matters is that the starting point and the ending point have to be connected, and the rest can just kind of happen.
I guess for Binding of Isaac, I'm totally okay with it because all of those rooms are so well designed that it's not a problem. And like,
it's just largely set up so that nothing could shit itself because there's not that much matters.
Yeah, there's no complexity or anything like that. So
that's a problem we might run into here, is that too much might matter to how you can play the game and progress. That it might shit itself when you make it random, and we might be in trouble at some point.
I think we're okay so far. Like the easiest way to debunk a like procedural generation is to effectively have a script that just like draws a line from point A to point B, and if you can't do it, it chucks that out. And I'm more than willing to bet that they threw that into this one.
By the way,
that is weird.
Probably keep seeing me just magically spawn a ring somewhere without entering it. I'm just not teleporting, but I'm generating a teleporting ring. I don't know why that's happening. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Die. There we go. But basically, my dream game is I really want a Pillars of Eternity Dragon Age. Like,
elaborate.
I want a top-down tactical RPG where you have absolute control of your entire party at all times, with no dumb AI trying to intercept you and ruin everything for you, unless you like explicitly put them on like a do your own thing mode, which is totally okay for them to give you, but as a thing you turn on and off. As opposed to Dragon Age things where it's on all the time and just will fuck you. But I don't want it to look like Pillars of Eternity. Because Pillars of Eternity's presentation sucks.
Yeah, it really did.
I want all the Dragon Age presentation of 3D character models and voice acting and the ability to rotate and zoom in the camera so you can tell what you're looking at. Like, like major fights of Pillars of Eternity that are like boss encounters with a bunch of tough things can have a big dumb tree in the middle of the room you can't see past. And you can't even rotate the camera because it's all baked in. Like, we rendered this in 3D, but now it's a 2D image, like Resident Evil old school. So like, you can't, if you can't make out a detail on the screen, you can't do anything about that. And you're just like, I can't, like, there's like an AoE thing happening here, and there's 17 characters, and 3 of them have animal companions, and there's a tree in the middle of the screen, and I'm fucked. And everyone's a tiny sprite because we decided to make this game a little too much. We're trying so hard to capture the nostalgia of old-ass Baldur's Gate that we made it look exactly like that to a fault. And that's... So I just want a game that looks like Dragon Age but plays like Pillars. And that's like my dream tactical RPG of like, I have all the control but also it looks great and has a great story and it feels great. But they won't do that because the moment you get a budget to make a Dragon Age game, EA breathes down your neck of like, no, we have to dumb this down and make it really accessible. So they have to be able to just sleepwalk through fights and stuff.
Thought so.
And have the AI try to do everything for people instead of having them play the game. Like, I'm sad to say that, like, the way you play Dragon Age on like an easy mode is probably the best way to play it, unfortunately, because you can't. Yeah. You can't. The moment you play it on hard mode, the mechanics fall apart.
I also just want something different out of like Dragon Age Inquisition than say you want out of Dragon Age Inquisition. If I want like a hard game, I'm gonna go play Dark Souls. I'm gonna go play a roguelike. If it's gonna be story based, I don't want it to be hard. I don't want it to be tactically challenging. And the problem is like you can't.
I want it all.
You can't program.
Queen.
You can't program in tactical difficulty and have it be like a really lengthy story-based game. Otherwise, you end up kind of like screwing yourself into a corner where like half the player base can't play anymore.
Isn't that what all old school RPGs were, though?
And it was really bad for them. They had a terrible reputation.
Like, that's why you give people an easy mode, where it's like everything dies easily at the end, and then those people can have that.
That's a bad middle ground, though.
But that's what you're getting. Isn't that what you're doing when you play Dragon Age? Is you're just playing a mode where you kind of sleepwalk through all the combat and just get the story?
Yeah.
Because then the bad middle ground already exists.
I feel like they could have balanced that better. Yeah. But like
I think
the thing
whole
is,
genre exists only as that bad middle ground already, and yet
yeah.
I don't get my extreme, and you don't get your extreme.
Yeah, because they're trying to pander to both of us, and that's kind of why I respect the Dark Souls games, because it's like we are just literally going to be doing our thing here.
I can't help but feel like if people just want story, they could play like Telltale games, and I almost said Peter Molyneux, the guy who makes Beyond Two Souls and Heavy Rain. Those games exist too. The old stories.
See, I don't think that's a good approach to it though. Like, one of my favorite games growing up was Fable. Did you play? You've played Fable, right? Like the Fable 1?
I played every Fable game.
Okay.
Pretty sure the first one's still the best one.
As far as I'm concerned, yes. I like some of the Oh, Keith, I found it.
I walked into the middle of that. I was like, I'm gonna put an aura there. Crap, I have to hold that down. I forgot. So I just teleported into the middle of it.
Oh, did they patch it so I can't spin to win anymore? Oh, there we go.
They saw your video and they destroyed it.
Nope, they did. They've not destroyed it. We're good to go.
Hello, Tiny Valkyrie.
You ready to go?
You're the first person.
I am ready to go
in like 40 minutes.
you gotta be down here.
Oh shit.
Yep, exactly.
The doorway tricked me.
All right. So Keith, we now move at the exact same pace. I've got this dungeon on lockdown or something. I'm not entirely sure.
Hi everyone. Hi everyone.
Okay, that hurt really bad. But that's okay. That is okay. This guy's kind of a dick.
An interesting example of what I'm asking for actually probably is the Fire Emblem games.
Yeah.
Absolute control of the combat, difficult scenarios, and not only a complicated story, but a story that's so nuanced that characters can die permanently and it plays out differently because those characters aren't there for those conversations.
I guess in that case, yeah, having an easy mode that is much easier, I'm okay with that. But like,
and that game has like 3 difficulties now, and even a mode where people can't die.
Yeah, and I think
can't permanently die. You can
I think that makes more sense to me. I actually almost like the idea of it. Like, I don't even remember if there was like a difficulty mode that changed it so the enemies were easier. The difficulty modes I remember were, you know, your characters can't die, and you turn off auto-saving. Well, you know, like saving in general. Like,
if you Iron Man mode.
Yeah, if you can just save in the middle of combat. Like, I thought that was actually all that game needs to differentiate the 2 difficulties. Because those games are actually really easy to, like, learn and master, and they're really good. But
I know that Fire Emblem Awakening definitely had a easy. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if it had easy, but it definitely had normal and hard, and then you could toggle on and off like whether or not people would die.
Yeah, and I think that's a good system. I also wouldn't mind it if it was just like enemies do slightly more damage or stuff like that.
Damn,
I don't know.
My inventory's getting full all the time.
Oh yeah, my inventory's totally full.
I am so thoroughly like all the things we disagree with about video game design. We are so 100% on board with the idea of like. Fuck equip loads and limited inventory spaces.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Anytime I play a game that anytime I play anything like Amler Inquisition, anything like that, my inventory is hacked.
This thing that just happened to me.
Infinite capacity. Yeah. Right now my inventory is just totally maxed out and it's pissing me off.
Like this is why I quit. This is why I always end up quitting playing Borderlands games.
Yeah,
you get all these guns, and you have to like physically pick them up and test them to figure out how they work. Because even if their stats are good, you have to test them to find out if you want to play with them because they could feel terrible.
Yeah.
But then you can hold like 20 things, and there's like 5 things per box everywhere.
I also tend to cheat.
Too many fucking items.
I also tend to cheat flagrantly in the Borderlands games, anywhere from, you know, hacking it so my guns have like scale with level.
Yeah.
Or my inventory is just maximized, or, you know, just various stuff like that. Because I just don't want to deal with the, like, RPG rigmarole. It's boring. I would much rather, like, focus on gameplay and shooting things. And I hate gun treadmilling.
Is it just me, or do Souls games have the best item and loot system of, like, any RPG?
Oh, yeah. No, like, I say this frequently to the point where I think it annoys people, But like, I find the Souls games, except for certain parts, tend to be pretty close to the pinnacle of good ARPG, or like the best kind of ARPG design.
They're basically the king of RPGs and everything except for if you care about story.
Yeah, story and presentation.
The only, like, the people that care about that think the Dark Souls story is great are the same people that talk about how great the Five Nights at Freddy's story is. Which is that you're super grasping at straws, and your head canon is basically what you consider the story to be, and that's.
I do consider the Dark Souls games to be comparatively quite ugly. However, Bloodborne was gorgeous, so I'm kind of hopeful. I think we have to kill the boss before we can kill his minions.
Like, I love that those games are packed with weapons, and like almost every weapon has its own move set, so they feel that they're genuinely different weapons for the most part. But then they have different lengths, different speeds, different stats, and everything like that. But like, there's also consistency to it because none of the weapons are randomized.
Yeah.
Like, this weapon always is this weapon, so if you pick up more of that weapon, you don't have to sit there and stare at it to figure out if it's better or worse, or if the, like, I have, looking at my inventory right now, I have, I think, 5 copies of just a blue tile of armor, and I don't know what that armor is, but I have to stare at them
and they're all useless. I haven't found an upgrade in a very long time. I'm super hyped for Dark Souls 2. I'm actually, I really enjoyed the other night when we were playing, oh, not Dark Souls 2. Well, I'm hyped for playing more of that, but Dark Souls 3 looks like it's going to be really good.
I'm going to avoid anything about that until launch, basically.
You mean learning any information? Yeah, I know nothing about it. I saw one thing of gameplay where it's like it's a little bit faster, like Bloodborne, but that's it.
My approach to these games, which I sort of cemented with Bloodborne, is basically that actually cemented with Dark Souls 2. Really, is that I will listen to videos about the games, and I'll learn like I'll find out what the new mechanics are, basically, that way. Like, I went to Bloodborne knowing that you have blood vials and they're limited consumables again, so there's no Estus.
Yeah, I didn't do that. I kind of regret not knowing that because I was really angry about the whole blood vial thing. Speaking of, we should probably go back to recording that.
Right after we finish the other 10 shows.
Yeah, it's true. Well,
we started 2 shows this week, not counting this game. Like,
I mean,
we can't.
Yeah, if we focus on those two, like, I don't mind just throwing Bloodborne onto infinite hiatus, just like
neither of us have aired it, even though people keep asking me to because we've mentioned it at some point.
Just like Destiny.
When. Yeah.
At some point, like, people have been asking me for Destiny, and I'm like, I'm not putting that up until I know that we have like a shot at finishing that.
Yeah.
In a reasonable time.
That's always in trouble because it's when we involve a third person, which always creates problems for us.
Yeah.
We don't have a third person that's exactly as dedicated to this as we are, so every single option has a good chance of
Bird comes really close.
The problem with Bird is he just doesn't have a track record yet. Like, right now he's doing pretty good at it, but he kind of just started doing this, so there's still the there's kind of like the long-term question still.
It's true.
Because he could easily be like TLE, who looked super dedicated to everything for like 2 weeks, and then suddenly completely quit forever.